My Uncle Juicy dropped dead in the middle of the dance floor at my cousin Darla's wedding during the down, down, down part of the Cupid Shuffle, which, by the way, was his second favorite dance, right after the Macarena. The Italians among us took it as a bad omen. 16 months and 2 kids later, don't ask, Darla divorced little Jimmy. No explanation, she just booted him out one morning. She told Chico and Serendipity that Daddy had gone off to join a traveling production of The Wizard of Oz. In her mind, she thought of Jimmy as playing a munchkin, and even though in her heart she knew this wasn't true, the thought gave her great satisfaction. Darla's second husband, Modesto, headed up a Puerto Rican gang in town. Not a particularly nefarious gang. They specialized in car-related crimes, swiping cameras, loose change, and foreign language tapes, lots of French. Only Modesto's mother called him Modesto. Everyone else knew him as One Eye. Darla never figured out how that started, didn't like the sound of it, but went along because calling her husband by any other name seemed to put him in a bad mood, which was a frequent enough occurrence anyway. Darla's marriage to One Eye was rife with difficulties, including that One Eye's mother, Raffaella, hated her. Partly it was Darla's own fault. Darla had a hard time keeping her mouth shut. She didn't understand the concept of respecting your elders regardless what damn fool thing they said. Darla and the kids wound up spending plenty of time at Raffaella's house, at least every Sunday. No matter which crimes One Eye committed on a Saturday night, you'd find him at Mass on a Sunday morning, followed by lunch at Raffaella's house by noon. They usually sat down to a table sagging under the weight of many delicious dishes, quesadillas, chalupas, burritos, enchiladas. However, one Sunday, Raffaella's table held only a slightly wilted salad. Not even an interesting salad. Lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, that was it. One Eye asked, "Why the rabbit food?" Raffaella responded, "The doctor, he put me on a gluten-free diet." Of course, Darla found this hysterically funny for all the obvious reasons, not the least of which was that Raffaella was carrying 80 pounds more than she needed. And of the 7 deadly sins, gluttony happened to be Raffaella's deadly sin of choice. Laughing out loud, in fact, laughing until she cried, permanently put Darla on Raffaella's shit list, a list graven in stone and mutable for all time. Darla's marriage to One Eye lasted 1 year and produced 1 kid, Fat Tukey. The wedded union might have survived longer except for One Eye's extreme ineptitude in matters criminal. On a snowy Saturday night, he broke into a federal judge's van, not realizing the judge happened to be puttering around in the cargo area. A scuffle ensued with the judge suffering a bonk on the head from One Eye's maglite. When One Eye got sent upstate to the penitentiary, Darla filed for divorce, claiming she had to keep her life thug-free for the sake of her children. In terms of kid production, Darla had broken the neighborhood record. She'd given birth to 3 children in 28 months, and if truth be told, via 3 different fathers. You might ask how this could happen. Darla lacked curiosity with regard to specific word meanings. During Darla's teen years, the sum total of her birth control instruction consisted of my Aunt Chubby's cryptic but emphatic admonition, "Don't ever let a boy near your front bottom." 2 years after Darla's second divorce, on a hot summer's day, Fat Tukey unscrewed the gas cap on Darla's Ford Taurus and jammed a peanut butter sandwich into the tank. Why? Fat Tukey didn't say. So Darla had to haul the car to the grimy Exxon station down the end of her street where she met a mechanic who fell in love with her at first sight, a feeling she reciprocated more or less. Due to profound shyness and a slight overbite, the mechanic had never dated. Sensing his bashfulness, Darla invited him to long chili dog night at Chuck's Bolorama downtown. Astonished by his good luck, the mechanic agreed with an eye blink and a dip of his chin. They exchanged numbers and finally names. Quincy Peters Strunk, or QP for short. Soon after that first date, Darla sprung for her own tiny zirconium, popped the question to QP one night, and then answered for both of them. Flash forward 3 months to Darla's 3rd wedding. Same stone church, same overworked priest. The morning of the wedding, there was QP quaking in his powder blue tux. Next to him stood Darla, underarm fat spilling out of both sides of the gown she'd worn at wedding number 1. Darla asked her brothers to serve as groomsmen. Brooks and Preston were Darla's brothers from another mother, a mother who hailed from Greenwich, Connecticut, a mother whom Aunt Chubby referred to as that rich witch, but didn't exactly say which when the littlest kids were out of earshot. The brothers, Brooks and Preston, stood to the left of QP. Despite their powder blue tuxes, they looked like they'd stepped off a page of L.L. Bean catalog, all in all creating an oxymoronic fashion statement. When the priest asked, "Do you take this woman?" QP passed out, straight back, clunking his head on the wooden pew behind him. Preston helped QP stand, and Brooks found him a glass of water. After hearing the question a second time, QP keeled over frontways, bashing his head on the base of the priest's lectern. With all the subtlety of the foghorn, Darla leaned over to Preston, giving instructions. 2 minutes later, poor QP was seated in a chair, groomsmen propping him up on either side. Bug-eyed and wringing his hands, the priest seemed to be wondering about the legality of continuing the ceremony with the groom being only semi-conscious. But Darla jutted out her chin in the priest's direction, indicating that neither hell nor high water nor a half-dead potential husband would move her from her expressly stated intentions. So the priest rolled his eyes. Thank you. So the priest rolled his eyes and asked the question for a third time. Turned out the third time was a charm. When QP nodded his I do, everyone heaved a sigh of relief, including the flower children, Chico, Serendipity, and the ring boy, Fat Tukey. You could almost read a little thought bubble hovering over their collectively badly combed heads. At last, we have a daddy. Indeed, Darla's offspring had acquired a daddy. Not a bad one either. Despite Darla's iffy track record, her friends and her family clung to the hope that she also had acquired a keeper, but that remained to be seen. Thank you.